Remember when they used to say the customer is always right? Whatever happened to those days? It's interesting how companies will spend millions of dollars on marketing, but at the same time, they will have either comic book creators or game developers just giving sass to the customer on Twitter. And that is something to be promoted and encouraged rather than something that should be restrained. I find this phenomenon to be really interesting because then they're like, oh, why don't our games sell? Why don't our comic books sell? Well, what is happening? What is happening? Well, let me give you an example, right? Because I know a lot of you don't play video games. I have a lady that's 80 years old, a subscriber of mine. Had the pleasure speaking with her on Twitter, and she probably doesn't play video games. So I'll explain it a little bit just to understand the situation. So, you guys know there's Steam, right? And there's Epic Game Store. Now, Steam is a video game library that puts the user first, right? Like, their clients are people like you. And they try to make it as a pleasurable experience as they can for the user. The other one is Epic Game Store, which puts the developer first, aka not you. So they release a lot of exclusive only games, like they pay the developer to have exclusivity on their platform, meaning that the developer stops caring about the player. They care more about pleasing Epic. And of course, a lot of people were upset, so you got this guy who works with Borderlands 3, Randy Pitchfork, which is by far one of the most interesting game developers that I have seen. Like, the amount of sass towards consumers coming from this guy is off the charts. Just look at this title, bitch and moan if you want, but the Epic Store is best for Borderlands 3. In other words, like he views the consumers as a necessary evil. Like he is the game developer that graces the client with his product. It's almost as if he is selling water. Like, what are you going to do? Live without water? No, you need to buy it, right? And this is how he treats the consumer constantly. Right? Like, if you go on his Twitter, you'll find example after example after example, just insulting, being obnoxious, being like the worst human being imaginable. Right? Like, there should be a measurement. The Randy Pitchfork scale, and then you can go on Marvel Twitter and rate the editors. It's like you're 4 Deca pitchforks worth of obnoxious, And also he is into really interesting predicament, as apparently he might have diverted funds to his personal company, stunning and brave. But today, what I saw from 2K Games was just, like, I couldn't believe it when I first heard it. I thought people are making a joke, right? Because in 33 years of being on this planet Earth, I never heard the company do something like this to a client. Okay, like this is just insane. So, let me tell you what happened. Apparently, when they promoted Borderlands 3, they did so at E3. And some of the names that appeared on the stream weren't censored. So a couple of people decided to add those names to their friend list. So they were following these names, and it seems that one of these individuals started playing Borderlands 3, which is a game that's not out yet. Now, the stream was set to private. However, you could still see the thumbnail. And the way Twitch works is that the thumbnail constantly gets updated. So, a YouTuber by the name of Supmato, which is a die-hard Borderlands fan, like he played this game for years, his channel is filled with Borderlands, manages to make a video by taking the photos from the thumbnail. And to his shock and awe, he wakes up with a knock on the door. Like it was the Gestapo. Apparently, he describes as two intimidating-looking gentlemen in suits, being a part of 2K Games, decided to pay him a visit and start asking him questions. Now, I personally, okay, this... I do think that this is a little bit of a PR fuck-up, you could say. You know, it's like you're a big multi-million-dollar company and you are descending upon this little guy. But with that in mind, companies do spend tens of millions of dollars on marketing, and they don't like it when information gets leaked. You know, and maybe they wanted to check to see if the guy is a hacker, or maybe someone at their company managed to, send this guy some photos. And, like they didn't know that it's their fuck up, that they are the one to blame because they, posted this stream that people could see the thumbnail and it was public information, right? So, yeah, I get it. It's not cool, but at the same time, if this would have been left here, I would have said, interesting, but, not newsworthy. No, what happens afterwards is like after they find out, they issue 7 copyright strikes on this guy's channel, which terminates his channel, okay? Terminates his account. His Discord server also gets terminated. So, you have this guy, which is a fan, right? Like, he spends word about your game. And you understand that it's your mess that you created. It's not that he hacked your database. It's not that, he got info from you through, I don't know, going at the corner of a street. It's like, hey, you want some screenshots with Borderlands 3? No, like, you managed to make the mistake as a company. And instead, you decide to ruin this guy's livelihood. You decide to terminate this guy from the internet, and in a display of an abuse of power that the internet has not seen before. And I generally do not understand why people still support these companies. Like, why are you, like, is Borderlands 3 really that great that you want to support it with your money? That, after this, there needs to be a message at one point. The free market, the hand of the free market, needs to punish this. It's unacceptable. I generally don't understand. And you know what pisses me off? That if Polygon or Kotaku or any other of these main websites that live in Silicon Valley would release, pictures of a game that's not out yet and leaks and stuff, do you think they would send goons to intimidate Stephen Totillo? Do you think they would, start striking down the... No. They would take it like a champ. And that would be it. But apparently it's like, oh, the little guy. Oh, the little guy did stuff. Oh, did he? And the guy is such a fanboy to Borderlands that I'm pretty sure that if they would have contacted him and asked him nicely to remove those videos, he would. But he didn't know that, oh, it's copyright when it's public knowledge. Alright? Like, he took it from a public platform. Why do I even bother? It's like... It's really shocking to see what is happening in the gaming industry. The amount of disrespect and the amount of contempt that they have for the customer. And in a way, it kind of makes sense. Like, you're not the customer anymore. Right? Like, Epic Game Store is their client. They need to please Epic Game Store. And they need to please the game journalists so that they give them a good grade. And that's it. Like, doesn't matter. Like, if their game doesn't sell, man, they already, got a big chunk of money from Epic Game Store. So this is why I hate Epic Game Store, by the way. It promotes this type of behavior, right? It's the same with the comic book industry. Because I was just wondering, it's like, why do these developers constantly, these comic book editors, anyone who's on Twitter, would see how they treat their customers with disdain, disgust, insulting. And then it came to me, it's like, hold on a little bit, they're not really the customers, right? Like Marvel Comics and DC Comics don't sell their comic books to people. It blew my mind when I realized, no, they sell their comic books to comic book houses, to the store. The store is their client. And as long as the store keeps buying their comics, they don't care. Because if the comic doesn't sell, the store takes the brunt of the damage. The financial damage. But apparently now stores are going out of business. And Marvel and DC are shitting their pants. They're putting on their brown pants this month. That's a story for another time. I just wanted to show you guys this because it just blew my mind. Other than that, I'm going to be streaming in about an hour from now. It's 6 p.m. now, so I'll stream at 7, the usual time. Also, I have a good news, and unlike DSP, I won't wait until you guys give me $2,000 in donations to give you the good news. I have opened memberships on my channel, so you can now join. You can become a member to my channel. Is that not great news? It's great for me, though. Not great for your wallet. You will have buyer remorse if you click the button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the live stream.